Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, and welcome back to our Wizard of Oz series on Every Version Ever. This week, my friend Mark Brown is back, and we're talking about Legends of Oz: Dorothy's Return. For some reason, this movie has basically become a meme at this point for how terrible it is, but part of me thinks that a lot of that is due to internet hyperbole. I don't think this is a good film, but I've seen a lot worse, and Mark actually liked it, so I guess you should just watch it for yourself and make up your own mind, and not listen to people on the internet. Wait. I didn't mean me. You can keep listening to me. Just ignore all those other people. So, had you heard about this one before we watched it?
Yes, I actually watched this film a couple of years ago, maybe 2014 or so. And I was one of the few who I actually, believe it or not, I don't know what your opinion is, but we'll find out. But I actually like this film. I actually do enjoy the film, even on the second viewing, which I literally watched last night. I still enjoy the film. I find it charming enough. I find it the animation very, very colorful and fast moving. I enjoy a lot all of the characters pretty much. The songs are definitely way better than Journey Back to Oz. They're not amazing songs, but I mean they're still overall better. But I know I was in the minority because I know a lot of people just hate this film, and the film was a box office bomb when it came out. But I mean, no, I would definitely watch this film again. What did you think?
Well, I did not have the same positive experience that you did. I mean, I did not hate it, but I didn't love it. I think I probably liked it better than Journey Back to Oz.
Only probably.
Well, I mean, it had completely different problems than
Yeah.
Journey Back to Oz. Like when it first started, I was like, "Oh, this is promising," because the opening titles, they were like great.
No, I love the way they introduced the opening credits and the characters. Like that was so clever. Just an object that represents the character, and then the name of the voice actor, and then other objects with the name of the director, production designer, and all that.
Mm-hmm. But then when it started getting into the character stuff, and I was like, "This is going downhill quick." Like the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. I mean, they're decent interpretations of the character, but at the very beginning, they had like the Lion and the Tin Man acting like they hated each other.
Yeah, they're about to fight. Yeah.
All their dialogue was just driving me crazy. It was like, who wrote this? Like, it looked good, but like they needed somebody else to go over the script and rewrite some of it.
I actually found some of those lines at the beginning kind of funny. maybe it didn't actually match what you expect from the character of the Tin Man and the Lion.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, they were definitely better than Journey Back to Oz versions.
That is very true. Them especially.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to do much to get better than Journey Back to Oz, where the characters won't even help with the problems.
That is definitely true. I don't know. I just enjoyed it. It's not like my top 100 favorite animated films of all time, but
I would say that this one is more watchable than Journey Back to Oz was because, like I said, with Journey Back to Oz, I literally fell asleep.
No, this would definitely. I think the colors are what was a huge influence to me on this film. It was just vibrant and kept me, glued to the screen to watch it.
Yeah,
and
the animation was decent too. It wasn't like Pixar level, but it was better than I expected.
No, definitely. All the characters and movements flowed. I was impressed.
I think my biggest problem with this movie is the script. I did not think the characters were written well at all, and not even just the first scene. Like when you get into the real world and you get back to Dorothy, like her aunt and uncle seem like completely disconnected from reality. Like their house has been destroyed by a tornado, and you have this shady appraiser guy coming in and condemning their house, and they're just like, "Oh, okay, well, this is grown-up stuff, Dorothy. Don't pay attention." It's like there's obviously something wrong with this guy, and they're acting like they need to listen to his every word just because it's a grown-up matter that Dorothy can't understand. It's like that really bugged me. And like at the beginning, before you know that this guy is actually a con man, I was like, this is not how the government works. Because I was thinking that this was like an actual government appraiser guy, and this is how that they had interpreted how the government works for this movie. And I was like, nobody in the government is going to act like this. I mean, some may have less compassion than they should, but nobody is like completely dispassionate about everything to the point of they're almost gleeful that they can condemn all these houses. It's like it made more sense when you find out he's a con man, but the reaction or lack thereof from Aunt Em and Uncle Henry was just baffling to me. It was like, this guy is insane, and you guys are acting like it's normal.
Well, maybe they're in shock from the recent tornado.
I suppose. They didn't communicate that well through the script, though.
That's definitely interesting. Like, we have a Wizard of Oz film where the human part is about an appraiser condemning buildings.
Yeah. Could you tell what time period it was supposed to be? Because I guess I assumed that it was going to be like turn of the century, but the cars looked near modern.
I was getting like a 50s, 60s vibe on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't figure out what time it was supposed to be set in, because the clothes looked not fully modern, but like almost.
Yeah.
And then they had the other weird choice, which is not a bad choice, it was just kind of weird to me, was the fact that in Oz, they talk about like years have gone by, but for Dorothy, it was yesterday. So they're going with Narnia rules. Is there any precedent for that?
I mean, in a way, I guess it makes sense. Like, if we look back at the 1939 film, exactly how long do you think Dorothy was in Oz traveling that yellow brick road to find the wizard? That definitely wasn't only a day.
No, but I guess I assumed that because that film was supposed to take place in her dream, that time didn't matter.
True.
I just never thought about time because it was a dream.
Yeah.
But in this version, as far as I know, it is not a dream. I don't think. I think this actually happens to her.
No, yeah, this wasn't a dream. They definitely made it seem like it wasn't a dream.
So the thing about the time difference kind of, it was weird to me, because I mean, it's not unheard of in this kind of story because that's how Narnia works. But I don't remember ever hearing that about Oz, so I didn't know if they just made that up for this movie or what.
I think they just made it up for this film, but I actually like that fact that they put in this lore.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorothy has this reputation amongst everyone as she's famous all across the land now.
Yeah.
And what do you think of the songs in this film?
The songs were decent. They were way better than Journey Back to Oz.
Definitely. From what it seemed like a lot of different people wrote each song. I felt maybe if it was the same people writing every song, there would be some consistency between each.
It would feel more cohesive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, because there were several songwriters. Because I was looking into some of the backstory on the movie. There were quite a few people writing the songs.
I really enjoyed when the Joker is singing the song with the candy, and it just goes on that riff about naming types of candy. I enjoyed that part a lot.
Yeah, that whole thing was kind of weird.
You would think, like, that's the thing. So the Joker, well, not Joker, Jester is the brother of the Wicked Witch.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of the film, like in the climax, he uses that magic wand or whatever to summon a tornado to destroy Dorothy. You would think he had done that in the beginning. No, first he's like, "Now we're gonna change the signs, so we make the law and get candy. Then I'm gonna, pretend to be fireflies in the cave and set them down the wrong path. And then finally at the end, you know what? I'm just gonna destroy them directly."
Yeah, that's another example of like somebody should have gone over this script a little better.
Yeah,
just one of many inconsistencies.
Mm-hmm. But overall, I like Bernadette Peters a lot as Glinda.
Yeah, she didn't have much of a role though, beyond showing up at the beginning, then getting turned into a puppet, and then
Yeah,
coming back at the end.
yeah. I guess that's just like Glinda in 1939 film. I guess just
Yeah,
shows up. At the end.
basically.
What do you think of like all the like Wiser the Owl and the Marshall Mallow and Tug?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, they're fine, and they make sense, I guess, in the world of Oz.
Yeah,
It just, to me, it felt like they were kind of just made up, instead of being like actual Oz characters. It was like somebody thought about something like, oh, this is how Oz feels. Let's make something like that.
hmm
And it kind of was because, do you know what the story that this was taken from?
I had read it. It was based on the book that the grandson had written, right, or the great grandson.
Yeah, the great grandson. He wrote this. So this was Dorothy of Oz. That's the story, and I guess to like Oz purists, this one is non-canonical because L. Frank Baum did not write this one himself.
Yeah,
But this was written by his great grandson. But I was surprised that it was written in 1989.
yep,
So it's kind of, I guess, sort of recent. I mean, it was written after I was born, so
yeah.
it makes it feel like almost modern to me. So it was weird to have something like that be the basis for a movie, because I was expecting this to be based on, well, either based on one of L. Frank Baum's books, or to go the Journey Back to Oz route
Yeah.
and take elements of a book and then build their own story.
I think if I'm not mistaken, this same great grandson he wrote another book previous to this called Lion of Oz. I think it was like it was like I guess the Cowardly Lion's backstory, and that also was made into an animated film apparently.
Yeah, I'd heard about that one too. I've not read any of these books. And he
Yeah,
wrote like somewhere between 10, 15 maybe Oz
yeah,
books. And I think he's still alive. He might even still be writing them. I don't know.
yeah. He's still alive. I checked when I looked him up the other day. Yeah, last night actually.
I don't know if you want to call it fan fiction or what, but I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with using his books over L. Frank Baum's if you want to, but I think that might have been what made me feel like the characters weren't as solid as L. Frank Baum's.
I can get that.
They didn't have enough substance, I guess. Like, I don't really know what the story was with the owl, where he came from. Like, I don't even remember why he joined Dorothy. Did they even say why he went with her?
I think he did, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it didn't feel like they built the characters very well. And they gave Marshall Mallow a reason for going with her, which was that he needed to find the ruler of the Candy Kingdom because he was another person that the jester had turned into a puppet.
The general, yeah, General Candy Apple,
Yeah, so that was his impetus for going with Dorothy. But did that story ever go anywhere? Like, I don't think they even had them reunite
yeah.
or anything.
No, he just kind of changed into a love story between him and China Doll, Princess China Doll.
Yeah, and that was another thing. The China Princess. Like, I don't know how it is in the book Dorothy of Oz, but in the actual Wizard of Oz book, the China Princess is not like this. She was like kind of awful.
Yeah,
And like, I don't know why that they would want to have Marshall Mallow even fall for her, because she was like, her whole thing, like she was supposed to be finding a suitor, and she's like rudely turning people down, like critiquing their looks, and then she like screams at all the China suitors
and
and
kills them.
shatters them. I was like, she just straight up killed all these guys. It turns out they're not actually dead. She tells the menders to put them back together. But like, I don't remember the China Princess being this awful in the original story. They still have Marshall Mallow like fall for her, even though she's kind of being awful and shallow, even to him sometimes.
Yeah,
It's just, her character was very inconsistent to me. She's like awful one minute and then sweet the next, and it's like, pick a side.
like I said, I like their character because of this character of her, and I thought the Megan Hilty, I guess she brought her Broadway, over the topness into this voice performance, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Well, the voice was great. Like the acting was great. Just
Yeah,
the way she was written was too inconsistent for me.
I guess what they were trying to do with her is she was always shallow and cares about appearances and looks, but in the end, when I forget where this happened, but in the end, she gets shattered. So she's willing to risk her life and her perfect looks and body to have a few cracks in it to save the people she loves. I guess that was what they were trying to do, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. There was a lot of things that I could tell they were trying to do, but like I said, I think somebody needed to go over the script a bit better.
I think one of the things that stood out to me is the tree that volunteers to be the boat, and he's like 900 whatever 978 years old. So after they make him to a boat, Dorothy's like, you know what? We're gonna call you Tug. It's like, this guy's been alive for 978 years. I'm sure he has a name, but you're just gonna go, no. You know what? I'm gonna give you a brand new name. I'm calling you Tug.
I didn't even think of that. I think I was too distracted by the fact that until I actually saw him, like the full tree being made into the boat, I was just thinking, this is really morbid. They're gonna chop this tree up to bits, and he's okay with it.
Yeah.
And it turned out they carved him into the boat, which is a lot better.
Yeah.
But they didn't make that very clear at the beginning. I thought they were gonna kill the tree.
You thought they were going the whole given tree route.
Yes, that's what it reminded me of, and I hate that book.
But yeah, that was the first thing I thought of. We're going to call you Tuck. Just to go up to random people that have names and be like, I'm calling you something else.
I did not even think of that. That is a good point.
And then also in that song sequence where they're carving him, then we see cameos of the field mice and the sawhorse from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I liked the cameos. I wish they'd had a little bit more to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that they actually included them.
Mm-hmm. I like the whole candy court scene. That amused me.
I just want to know why the candy people just wanted to go straight into death. Like, instant death sentence. It's like the candy they were eating wasn't people. They were just eating candy that was growing out of the ground.
But was it? We don't know. We don't know the lore that's going on there. Maybe that's how candy gets born. They grow them and then they go.
They eat the babies. I didn't even think of that.
There's a lot of ways you could go in this movie.
Oh wow!
Legends of Oz: eating babies and renaming old folk.
Yeah, it was weird. The end was weird too. Like, as abrupt as the end of Journey Back to Oz was, this one, it was like even more abrupt. Like they saved everybody, and then as soon as Glinda appears, she's like, "Oh, Kansas must be missing you by now," and then they're all saying goodbye. It's like the battle literally just ended, and you're getting rid of them.
It's like after Avengers Endgame, as soon as Thanos is dead, he's like, "Well, I got a flight to catch." Yeah. At least I remember this ending compared to Journey Back to Oz.
That's true. Like I said, this one, it wasn't the greatest, but it was at least more memorable than Journey Back to Oz.
So even the ending, when she goes back, right, and she goes to the shelter where the guy is collecting all the deeds from all the tenants, like all the tenants, all the homeowners are ready to give up their homes to this guy, and Dorothy just stands up on the table for 3 seconds. It says 2 sentences, and they're all like, "Hey, you know what? She's right. Why didn't we think about that?"
Yeah, another thing that made no sense to me. Like, they were all ready and willing to give up their homes with basically only this guy's word that they were dangerous, I guess. I don't know what the scheme was, because like you can condemn a home, but like that doesn't mean you get to take it. So I don't know what these people thought that this guy was doing. It was weird that
Dorothy was able to run in after she was told not to by her aunt and uncle. She was like, "This is grown up stuff," and then she does it anyways. And then all the people like immediately turn around. Dorothy's the hero, and her aunt and uncle are so proud of her, even though she did exactly what she was not supposed to do.
And like even weirdly, the sheriff, he's like around the whole time helping the con man. Like, didn't he bother to check identification or something?
Yeah, like I said, there was all the stuff with that guy just did not make any sense to me.
Yeah. And as soon as I heard his voice, because I didn't remember his character from the first time I watched the film, but as soon as I heard the voice, I realized, oh, this is Martin Short, and he's going to be, it's like Wizard of Oz, he's going to be the jester in the Oz world.
Yeah, I didn't realize at the beginning, but then after I'd seen the movie, and then
Yeah.
you get to the end, and it's like, oh yeah, it's the same guy.
Yeah. And the monkey was his, I don't know, minion.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't.
Right.
the minion doesn't talk. The monkey doesn't talk. He pushes both of them around. They're both short.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So, well, that was Legends of Oz: Dorothy's Return. I know it definitely had. I didn't research it much, but I know it had quite some production history going on.
I looked into it a little bit. If you're interested, I found there's a guy on YouTube. The channel's name is Electric Dragon 505.
Yeah, I know he is. He's the animation guy, and he did a couple of videos with Noah Centineo, I think, talking about this.
It's about Noah Centineo because the way it was worded, I thought this Noah Centineo was in the video, but he's not.
Oh, okay.
It's about him. The whole backstory of this movie is more interesting than the movie itself because from what it sounds like, basically this movie was made by scamming like hundreds of people out of money. Like
that's the way to do it.
The two guys who were behind the movie, I don't know their first names, but he called them the Carroll brothers. Basically, they were going around telling people that they could buy into this new franchise because they were building a Wizard of Oz franchise. They got the rights to the books by the great-grandson, L. Frank Baum. Just his books, not L. Frank Baum's books.
Yeah.
So they were going to do a franchise based on his books. So they were telling all these people all these grand plans for like the first movie, I think 2 sequels, a television series, video games, phone apps, all these different things. And they got, I think the final total that he came up with, because he ended up talking to people like who were involved in this, and the final number was like over $130 million.
Wow.
That they got from early investors. But then their public announced budget for the movie was $70 million. But then talking to people later, it turns out it was more like probably closer to $30 million, even though it's officially on the books as $70 million.
Yeah.
So basically, these guys walked away with $100 million in money, and the company folded, basically. There's currently a massive lawsuit going on around this film. Like, these guys are being sued by all the investors.
Oh, it's still going on?
Apparently, it just happened. Like, because that's when
nice.
Because when he made the first video early this year, I don't think that the lawsuit had happened. And then mid 2019, the lawsuit came up, and more people were talking about what went on with this movie. And then he made the second video to like do an update on everything he learned since. So basically, this movie was built on fraud.
Nice. The Hollywood way.
Apparently, from what he was saying, this isn't even the first time The Wizard of Oz has been used as the basis for a movie that ended in fraud, because there was another scam that never made it to a finished movie. It was for a movie that was going to be called Oz 3D. He said it was going to be like a modern retelling, and they only made it to like maybe like $20 million, I think he said. And then they were arrested and charged with all sorts of different kinds of fraud. So the people behind Oz 3D were arrested for only a fraction of what happened with Legends of Oz.
Wow.
So if this lawsuit ends up going not in their favor, these guys are in big trouble.
Gosh. And I think just to point out one reason, I guess, he's talking about Noah Centineo in the film, and in these videos, is his father, Greg Centineo, was one of the producers.
Yeah, that was another like subplot of the whole.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it a conspiracy or what, but like the guy, Greg Centineo, the father of Noah Centineo, who I guess Noah Centineo is like a big name in like teen movies. He looked vaguely familiar. I think I might have seen him on a Disney Channel show at one point.
He was in, I think it was in that Kiss and Booth movie on Netflix.
I never saw that one. But he's a recognizable name for teenagers these days.
Yeah, people younger than us know him.
Yeah. So basically, his dad was involved in this scheme somehow and used the money that he got to build his son's career.
Wow. That is something, if that's true.
Yeah. This is like a completely different version of like the school scandal with the other celebrities doing shady things behind the scenes to build up their kids' careers.
Well, that is... I don't know since he achieved fame really quickly.
Yeah, then it sounds like this movie is the reason. He's not even in it.
Mr. Centineo, what do you say is the start of your long and joyous career? Well, it was Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return.
I kind of feel bad for him because I'm sure he didn't really know what was going on.
No, sure not.
It's like the school scandal too. I don't know how much the kids knew what was going on. It just kind of
probably not. Yeah.
Get them into these situations.
I hope everything works out fine. I don't know. I think he's going to be in the new Charlie's Angels movies coming out. Mm-hmm. I guess next month.
I'll put the links to these videos in the description of the podcast and YouTube video, just in case anybody is interested in looking into this. You'll be warned. It's like an hour of watching videos because there's a lot to this story. Like,
I can imagine
scratching the surface in this brief discussion. But yeah, it's the making of this movie is crazier than the movie. It's bizarre.
Watch someone make a movie about that
now. That may happen. They already made a movie of the school scandal.
Oh, really?
Like it's a Lifetime movie.
Oh.
Like Rachel was talking about it.
Oh yeah, she would know.
Yeah, but like if this blows up to the point where it's more than just the animation community that knows about it, I bet there will be a movie made about it.
Imagine if The Legends of Oz: Dorothy's Return becomes famous. I like the film, but even I wouldn't say this is a film that needs to be, be known by everybody.
It won't be famous for a reason that the stars and producers would hope.
It would overshadow everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, this film, I know most people and critics don't like it, including our friend Rachel. I had to talk with her when I first saw the movie, but I liked it. That's pretty much all I got to say about it.
Well, I'm glad somebody likes it.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of something exists if everyone hates it?
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like it's not horrible, but it's not great for me. I probably wouldn't rewatch it.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't hate my life while I was watching it.
Or fall asleep.
That's true. But there have been movies where I was just like actively despising it while I'm watching. It's like I'm only watching this for my review or whatever.
You're probably gonna watch it if you haven't already, but have you seen The Witches of Oz?
I remember that was a mini-series, right?
Yeah, it came out like 2010, I want to say.
I remember that coming out, and I don't remember if I actually watched it or not. Because I remember looking forward to it, but I don't remember if I actually ever saw it.
I saw it, and I was really disappointed. I hated it. Like, I think it's my least favorite Wizard of Oz film. But there are two good things I liked about it. Christopher Lloyd is the Wizard of Oz, and two, it has the most epic Tin Man ever.
Okay.
Although he's in it for like 5 minutes, probably the whole 3 hours. But that's just something to look forward to if you ever get to that.
Yeah. I don't remember Christopher Lloyd, so maybe I've never seen it, but it's one of those things. It's been almost 10 years, so
Yeah.
like in 2 weeks, I'm going to forget these two movies. So maybe I did see it and I just forgot them.
Don't worry, I've already started to forget Journey Back to Oz.
Yeah, no, the Journey Back to Oz is like, it's mostly gone.
Yeah.
Oz will stick around a little longer because
Only the elephant sound in your brain now.
that will never leave my brain.
That will never leave.
That sound was awful. Anyway, I guess that's probably all.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other thoughts.
I think we said all we had to say, all we could say about both of these films.
Yeah.
So all in all, I liked Legend of Oz much better than Journey Back to Oz.
Yeah. Well, do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Well, you can find me on my blogs. I have an animation one, The Animation Commendation, at markb4.wordpress.com. And I have a live-action Disney blog where I'm trying to watch and review every theatrically released live-action Disney film ever made, and that's myliveactiondisneyproject.wordpress.com. And I'm sure Jonathan will put some of the links down below.
Yeah, yep. Okay, well, thanks for joining me on this.
Thanks for having me. I always enjoy, coming on these podcasts, talking in depth about animated films or other films with you, and hope to come back again.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Every Version Ever. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to subscribe on whatever platform you prefer, and of course make sure to follow my co-hosts as well. Any relevant links will be in the description for easy access, and we'll see you soon for another brand new episode of the show. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Every Version Ever.